All right. We're up to number one. No real mystery here. Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. Um, One of my favorite players in this draft class. Currently number six on my big board behind a bunch of offensive tackles and Arch Manning, assuming he comes out. I'm going to give him a comp, and I don't care what you think about it because this is one of my favorite players back in the day, and he plays with this type of tenacity, smarts. Troy Polamalu. Now, Troy, I think, was only 5'10". Unofficially, I have Caleb at 6'02", and you can let me know where you stand on that. Plays free safety, plays in the box, plays in the slot. Um, Trying to think what else here. Oh, this is what I wanted to bring up. So, obviously, a cornerback's never been first overall, which means a safety's never been first overall. But looking back, you have to go back to 2004. The great Sean Taylor was the first defensive back off the board, safety or cornerback. He was safety at number 5. 2007, LaRon Landry went number 6 overall, first safety off the board. 2010, this is a fun one. Eric Berry, who's a really good player, 5th overall safety, one pick after, Trent Williams, still in the league, still dominating. And then the guy we talked about on the podcast yesterday, he was a second defensive back drafted after Morris Claiborne, but Mark Barron, who was a safety who eventually made his way to linebacker. So my point, Rand, is that it's rare in the last 20 years to see a safety be the first defensive back taken, certainly in the top 5. I think this could be a situation where Mr. Downs is the first defensive back taken, also taken in the top 5.
No, I agree. And I've loved this guy from the beginning. He was one of my favorite guys when I first watched him last year. So
Mm.
I have my reports here in front of me, and if I could show you on this iPad, he was the first guy evaluated this season for this upcoming draft class. But I think he's a starting rock and roll safety. I like him a little bit more at free safety. I think he has very few flaws in his game. In just the way he plays. I think he's a good overall athlete. I like his foot quickness, his hip flexibility, transition quickness. I think he's just very smart, very instinctive. And he does a lot of things that don't get noticed on tape, that don't show up in the stat sheet. And he takes things away. He understands the defense. He has good scheme recognition, takes away routes from multiple alignments, and he's very good in man coverage versus tight ends. He just I think he has good range, but you don't really see very many opportunities where he's in the post, where you see him pedal flip, turn and run and go get it. And that a lot of that is due to the front that he played with at Ohio State. Just the ball had to come out quick. But you talk about a guy that's tough running the alley in terms of his run defending ability. Definitely not afraid to stick his face in the fan. I think he's a good sound tackler that just does a good job of coming to balance in space and getting his guy on the ground. You saw flashes of him having striking ability to knock people back, but he's just more of a sound tackler, get the guy down on the ground. And I think he has the makings to be a Pro Bowl safety. I know I've talked to a few scouts, and one scout I talked to yesterday whose team may actually be in the safety market. I don't know if they'll pick high enough to get him, but he used your line and said, "Hey, man, this is one you just don't overthink." He told me, and I want to quote him. I won't say who he is, but I'll quote him. He says, "When a guy leads Alabama in tackles as a true freshman, it's pretty hard to say that this guy can't play football." And so,
Thank you.
I really like this kid and had a chance to spend some time with him over the summer. He's just about his business. He's already a pro. He's professional. Learned that from his brother Josh Downs. His uncle is Dre Bly, who played a long time in the league, and so he has, like I said, he has all the makings to be, one of those legit guys. And again, they're going to be the naysayers that say, "Oh man, he doesn't." From him being a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick, he doesn't do this and he doesn't have the production that this guy had. Listen, man, show me a better safety in college football. Show me a better DB in college football, and then you can make the argument with me.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things we get caught up in, whether it's in the media or in the league. Positional value and running back is the first thing that comes to mind. But Saquon Barkley proved last year that he actually is a top 5 pick. Center's another position that gets pushed down, but you can make the case that Creed Humphrey, maybe even Zach Frazier, could be first round picks in a different world, a different draft, because they are incredibly important to making those offensive lines run. And the safety's the same thing. Kyle Hamilton fell down draft boards to the middle of the first round because he ran a slow combine time, ran better at his pro day. But there's no doubt in my mind that he's a top 15 or higher player based on what he brings to that defense. And that defense is without him. It looks completely different. In my notes, I put that I liked Caleb better than Malachi Starks last year, and I really like Malachi. And I said he's between Starks and Eman Wari in terms of the athleticism. I think he's a little better athlete than Starks, and Starks is a great athlete. Nick Eman Wari tested through the roof. But a lot of the things you talked about in terms of short area quickness, his ability to come downhill like he shot out of a cannon. I thought he had sideline to sideline range when coming from the heavens to play the run or play the quick game and get to the sidelines. All those things stood out time and time again. And I thought he moved short area quickness wise like he was a nickelback, like a corner, a 5'8" Chandler Rivers type guy, changing direction. All that stuff flashed to me. If he's 6 feet, 205, do you care about that at all? Because I do not.
No, I don't. I think he'll be between 5'11" 1 and let's say 5'11" 4, 5'11" and a half. I don't think he's quite 6 feet. I think he will be in that 205 range, which is good for him. Now, the interesting thing is what is he going to run 40 wise? And how much will that affect him? How much will people look past the play speed that you see on tape versus the time speed? There was when B-Mac and I, when we sat down with him and his brother and interviewed him this summer, one of the questions we asked who would win in a 40. And it was kind of a toss-up, and then they both agreed that Josh would win in a 40. His brother, well, Josh ran, I believe, 4.48. Yep. And so it just leads you to believe, will Caleb run in that same 4.48 range, or will he be a low 4.5 guy, from, let's just say 4.53 and below? And if he runs 4.53 and below, that's still plenty fast. That's still up there, in terms of the top percentile in terms of starting safeties in the league. But to quote the great Ryan Wilson, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, people. This guy's a good football player. He's made of the right stuff. He's a guy that will wear the C on his chest in your organization. You bring him in, you don't look back, and just keep it moving.
And you talked about this yesterday when you did the linebackers. Like, you can have a linebacker who runs 4.3, but if he doesn't know where he's supposed to be, you want the grizzled 10-year veteran who runs a 4.7 because he is going to be in the right place. He's going to be able to get to certain gaps that an athletic linebacker who doesn't know what he's doing won't be able to do. The other thing I'll point out in terms of not overthinking it, Brian Branch got drafted in the second round because he ran in the 4.5s. I think he ran 4.58. He's a first-round pick. Kamari Lassiter ran 4.62. He's a starting cornerback for the Texans, and he is really good. Second-round pick. Arguably, it should have been a first-round pick. So I need you to continue to remind me not to overthink it, because if, God forbid, Caleb runs a 4.6, he is still one of the best players in this draft class. So let's all remember that. All right, Rand, summer scouting is in the book. We hit every single position group from start to finish. I think over the last 2 months, that's what we did. So that stuff is all in the book. So everyone, if you're a general manager watching this, we did your homework for you, so you can go back and check this stuff out. And then we'll circle back in the spring and see how right we were about that. All right, going forward, we're talking more about how these training camps and the preseasons go, and talking about these rookie players, and then looking ahead, of course, to the college football season. I'm excited for that. In the meantime, Rand, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And you can check out With the First Pick wherever you get your podcast. Scan that QR code there. Leave us a 5-star review. Your favorite player. We'll try to evaluate them on an upcoming podcast. See you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll be back next week.